Comparative Chinese Philosophies by Kristen Preston. Confucianism, Taoism, Legalism. By the end of the spring and autumn period and the Warring States period, a philosophical movement had begun. The collapse of the feudal system by the Zhou dynasty and the social breakdown that ensued led China to endure significant cultural and societal changes. A once unified China was now divided into many warring small states, which brought death and suffering to many. From this period of calamity and chaos came a time of great philosophical creativity. Some of the great classics of China emerged in this period, as did the three great schools: Confucianism, Taoism, and Legalism. Though the first two can be considered broader philosophical traditions, legalism is a pragmatic, political philosophy. Their influence has shaped Chinese culture, inspired by the need to fix problems of the deteriorating Zhou dynasty. The philosophical teachings of Confucianism, Taoism, and legalism are at the forefront of Chinese culture because their ideals and beliefs bring peace, harmony, and unity to society and remain relevant today. The founder of Confucianism is in modern Chinese often called Kangzi, with his Latinized name Confucius, circa 552 to 479 BCE, which is attributed to Jesuit missionaries who made their way into China in the 17th century. Confucianism is also known as the School of Literati and was originally composed of a set of political and moral doctrines with the teachings that begin with the ideal that human nature is good and that virtuous leadership can produce moral and diligent behaviors in others. Even when cruelty and injustice rear its ugly head, fostering the goodness of humanity is paramount in achieving harmony, peace, and unity within a society. The way of Confucius has two principles which define his philosophy, and both are vital to establishing harmonious relationships built on firm foundations. The first principle is Zhen, meaning kindness, and it embraces the ideal of unconditional love and represents a desire for the highest good of all. The second principle is called Li, which is interpreted as property. The notion includes duty, righteousness, and honesty, and includes a sense of correct behavior and the exercise of objectivity and fairness. According to Confucius, each person has a specific place in society and certain duties to fulfill. Relationships were important to Confucius, and proper order in society which creates social harmony and good government. Thus, the 5 key relationships to Confucius's way of thinking are between ruler and subject, between father and son, between husband and wife, between elder brother and younger brother, and between friends. And in this context, the latter or inferior of the two couplings should respect and obey the superiors, with the superiors' entities in return loving the inferiors. Other teachings of Confucius, known as the Analects of Confucius, were written as conversations of Confucius with various leaders of the time about government and the state, in which he revealed how good leadership can be learned from observing good leaders of the past. He saw the leader as a patriarch of a state family in the same way that a good father is patriarch to his family. During most of Chinese history, Confucianism was the preserver of traditional Chinese values and the guardian of Chinese civilizations as such. The teachings of Confucius have been an integral part of Chinese education for centuries. His continued emphasis on social harmony and the value given to relationships and respect, it is believed that society will remain at the forefront of Chinese culture and will have peace, unity, and prosper. How is Confucianism still relevant today? There are currently 525 Confucius Institutes in 146 countries and regions around the world. A total of 9.16 million students have attended Confucius Institutes thus far. 2017 hosted the Global Confucius Institute Day, which took place in Ghana. In 2008, the Olympic Games held in Beijing displayed an honor dance for Confucius, where dancers and actors dressed up as Confucius, chanted his sayings, and celebrated his values. Another philosophical teaching at the forefront of Chinese society is Taoism, also known as Taoism, and it originated in China between the 6th and 4th centuries BCE. It is an ancient religion that emerged as a philosophical system with its influence by both Confucianism and Buddhism. Lao Tzu is one man attributed as a founding father of Taoism. Born in the village of Chujin, Lao Tzu's real name may have been Li Tan, with Lao Tzu being a title of respect, meaning old or venerable master. The other is Xuanzu, a disciple of Lao Tzu. Core beliefs of Taoists is that salvation is there for the whole person, the body as well as the soul. There are 3 life principles which Taoists believe in. Qi, which means breath, Jing, which means essential seed of life, and Shen, which means spirit. It emphasizes doing what is natural and going with the flow in accordance with the Tao or Tao, a cosmic force which flows through all things and binds and releases them. Immortality is another key feature of Taoist belief. Healing and wholeness take place through breathing exercises and meditation, which enable interior spiritual transformation to occur, permitting the immortality of the person. Taoism has the belief in balance and harmony, with the emphasis on healthy living and long life. Incorporating a oneness with nature and teaching that government should allow people to grow in a natural way is essentially important and crucial in keeping Taoism at the forefront of Chinese society. Taoism has also come to embody the yin-yang principle and the yin-yang thought that life is supposed to be lived in balance, as the symbol of the yin and the yang express. The yin-yang is a symbol of opposites in balance: dark versus light, passive versus aggressive, female versus male. Everything except good and evil, life and death, because nature does not recognize anything as good or evil, and nature does not recognize the difference between life and non-life. All is in harmony in nature, and Taoism tries to encourage people to accept and live that kind of harmony as well. Tao Te Ching, which means the way and the power. The third philosophical teaching at the forefront of Chinese culture is legalism. Legalism is more. The ideals and principles of legalism are that you can get obedience by using the government to control everything. You can control people's actions through strict laws and harsh punishments. You can gain obedience to these laws by encouraging people to spy on each other and to report any wrongdoing to the authorities. The authorities will then reward the informer and punish the wrongdoer severely. How does legalism bring peace, harmony, and unity to society? By a system of rewards and punishments for the betterment of society, and society believes in government and the law. In legalism, law directs one's natural inclinations for the betterment of all. The betterment of society brings peace, harmony, and unity not only to the government enacting the laws, but the societies obeying them. How is legalism at the forefront of Chinese society? Legalism was practiced through enacting laws to control the population of China. These laws would include how one was to address social superiors, women, children, servants, as well as criminal law dealing with theft or murder. Legalism has remained a go-to philosophy throughout China up into modern times. How is legalism still relevant today? Governments today still resort to enacting some degree of legalism when it feels that it has lost control. Similarities and differences between the three principles. Taoism emphasizes intuitive anarchy. Confucianism emphasizes benevolence. Legalism emphasizes the need for order above all other human concerns. The philosophical teachings of Confucianism, Taoism, and legalism ideals and principles have brought some similarities and differences to Chinese culture. Taoism and Confucianism are very similar in many core beliefs, with a refusal to participate in strict rites and rituals setting them apart. Legalism holds that it would be given that people would act on their self-interest and always in the worst way, while Confucianism held the emphasis on people finding the good within and expressing it. Based on these observations, we see that Chinese philosophy has remained at the forefront of the Chinese culture, with the ideals and principles bringing peace, harmony, and unity in their own unique way to society while remaining relevant today.